so far, so good.
Well, we're not through yet. Hey, Dave.
Yeah, but what did anybody want to bother us for? We ain't carrying anything valuable.
Neither were the last 4 stages. Keep your eyes peeled.
Don't worry,
What's the matter?
My horse gave out on me 3 miles back. Stepped in a charcoal. Can you give me a lift into Bull Bluff?
Been having a lot of trouble around here, mister. Can't take any chances.
I know, but I ain't gonna cause you no trouble. I ain't even armed. It's a long walk into Bull Bluff.
All right. Climb in.
Thanks.
You down.
By the way, you better take the road to the left when you get to the fork up a piece.
Why? Something wrong?
There's a big tree down across the main road. Looked like it was struck by lightning.
I see. Well, thanks, mister.
Uncle Nugget. Any word about the stage?
Got a telegram back saying it started on schedule. More than an hour late.
Oh, it'll be along. I'm finishing up the receipts now.
Ain't that darn thing blown up yet?
Of course not. It's wonderful. Look at the letter I just wrote.
Letter. Huh. Just plain handwriting ain't no good for folks no more. Now they gotta have machines to do the writing for them. Downright lazy, I calls it.
But it's so easy. And everybody can read it.
Yeah, but it ain't writing. I don't know why I ever let you talk me into buying that contraption.
If you'd only try it, you'd see how easy it is.
Nah, not me. I wouldn't lay a finger on it. That darn thing ain't human. I sure wish that stage had come in.
Don't worry, Uncle Nugget. I'm sure it'll get here all right.
Well, I ain't so sure. Not with them ding-dang outlaws. Now we ain't got no law around here at all, since they killed the sheriff.
But that new marshal you sent for will take care of them. Have you heard when he's coming?
Not yet. But it better be soon or I ain't gonna have no stages left. And it ain't mere coincidence that they're picking on me. No, sir. It's that Crail, I tell you. He's a no-count, thieving, low-down sneak.
Hello, Nugget. Hi, Gene.
Hello, Paul.
What do you want?
The telegraph operator asked me to drop this by for you.
Probably more bad news.
Any word about your stage?
Well, it's more than an hour overdue now. That ought to please your boss, Mr. Crail.
He isn't doing this, Nugget.
That's right. You're his lawyer. Protect him. Here you have been working for him a couple of months now, and you think you know all about it. Well, let me tell you something, young fella. He's a bloodsucker, that's what he is. Bleeding the folks in this town out of every dime they got and calling it insurance. Don't fool me none.
You've got him all wrong, Nugget. Mr. Crail's trying to help people. Well, if it wasn't for him giving me his legal work, Gene and I couldn't even think about getting married. Could we, Gene? You aren't beginning to believe what Nugget says, are you?
Well, I'm not so sure.
She's crazy if she don't. And she'll be crazier still if she marries a fella like you.
Nugget Clark. I reckon these are your horses, Nugget. I found them out on the South Road. Looks like they've been running them pretty hard.
What was they doing out in the South Road?
Maybe they veered off at the fork.
Or somebody made them veer off after they unhitched the stage. Did you see anything of my driver, the gun guard?
Couldn't find a sign of them anyplace.
Sam and Ted. Good boy. I know where we'll find them. In a wrecked stage over some cliff.
What's going on here?
I just lost another one of my stages. But of course you wouldn't know anything about that, Mr. Crail.
Well, now that's too bad, Nugget. But like I told you before, if you'd just pay me for some insurance.
I wouldn't pay you a nickel. It's blood money, I tell you. Maybe you can fool the rest of the people in this town, but not me. I got a good idea what's going on around here, and I aim to tell the new marshal when he gets here.
New marshal, eh? When's he coming?
Well, I don't exactly know, but he'll be here.
Howdy, Paul. Howdy, Miss Jean.
Hello, Mr. Crail.
Now, you better take your uncle in out of the sun. He's sure getting peculiar ideas.
Oh, I am I? Well, the new marshal will be getting in here tomorrow morning. Name's Rocky Lane, one of the best lawmen in the state. Heard as how he cleaned out a whole town single-handed one time.
He must be quite a man.
You'll see when he gets here.
I'd like to meet him. You say his name is Lane, huh?
That's right. Rocky Lane.
Stay where you are. Put your hands up.
What's the matter?
Trespassing on private property.
No offense intended. I was just looking for the way to Bull Bluff.
Maybe you were, and maybe you're aiming to start something. We've had an awful lot of trouble around here recently.
Well, you can relax. I'm Rocky Lane, a deputy marshal.
I don't see any badge on you, mister.
That's my identification.
That's all I wanted to know. All right, boys. It's him. We've been waiting for you, Marshal. Now get down.
Are you the new marshal?
That's right. My name's Rocky Lane.
Well, I'm sure glad to see you. I'm Nugget Clark, owner of the freight and stage lines, a couple of doors down the street.
Howdy. I read the telegram you sent us. Sounded like you were having a load of trouble.
Well, that didn't tell you the half of it. We've had killings and robberies and holdups. Well, just yesterday I lost another stage of mine. Driver and gun guard both killed. Well, the whole place is a nest of outlaws.
Yeah? Well, I ran into some of them about 3 miles out of town. One of them pulled a gun on me and took my identification papers. Then some of his friends rode down on me, and I had to shoot my way out. The trouble is, I didn't get my papers back.
Well, I'll be ding-dang.
But don't say anything about this to anybody. Got an idea they might turn up somehow. If they do, it may give us a lead.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, how about my meeting some of the folks around town? Just to get my bearings.
Sure thing.
Well, glad to have met you, Marshal. Let me know if there's anything I can do.
Thank you, I will.
Well, I reckon that about covers it. Except for one other fella.
Who's that?
Big Jim Crail. But you won't be meeting him. He's the biggest crook in this town. The one that's been causing all the trouble.
Then maybe I better meet him, if you can prove what you say.
Dang it, I can't. That's why I sent for you. Come on over to my office. I'll show you my record.
There. Now, if you're coming over to supper tonight, I better do a little shopping.
Need a helper?
This is the new marshal, Rocky Lane. My niece, Jean Martin.
How to do, ma'am?
How do you do?
I'm Paul Weston.
Hello.
Yeah, works for that crook Crail.
I wouldn't call him that, Nugget. The marshals have to take you seriously.
Now, don't you start telling me what to call him, you young whippersnapper. I want to show the marshal our books, Jean.
While you do that, I'll run over to the general store. Nice to have met you, Mr. Lane.
Thank you, ma'am.
So long, Marshal.
What about this Mr. Crail you mentioned?
He's a gall-darn dirty, low-down...
I know you told me that, but what does he do?
Runs an insurance business. Leastways, that's what he calls it.
What kind of an insurance business?
Protection. That's what kind. When all the trouble started around here, he told the folks in town he'd protect them for a price. So he sold him his insurance against outlaws. But his rates was so high, he darn near busted them. Well, they even had to raise money from the county seat on their ranches. $50,000. But do you think they're going to let me bring that money in? No, sir. They're going to let Mr. Crail do it. And he'll charge him half the money for bringing it in.
Did everybody in town go for that?
All except me and a couple others. Look here, Marshal. Now, that's why I've been losing all my stages. Just because I won't let him bleed me like he's doing the others.
But you haven't any proof that he's behind this, have you?
Don't need any. I can smell a crook a mile off, and he's got the smell.
Well, we're going to need more than that to bring action against him. Could be he's handled this thing legitimately.
Now, if you're going to let him fool you like the rest of the people around here, you might just as well pack up and go back where you come from.
Well, take it easy, old-timer. All I meant to say was that we've got to find some proof, that's all.
Now you're talking. But it ain't going to be easy. He's tricky like a fox.
Even a fox can overplay his hand like anybody else. What about this young fellow Weston? You said he works for Crail.
Yeah, and blind as the rest of them. Went to law school back east. When he couldn't get no law work to do around here, Crail gave him a job with his insurance company. Now, Paul claims that what Crail is doing is legal and all that. But I ain't fooled.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if the insurance part of it was legal.
Well, mind you, I ain't saying Paul is crooked. He's just letting Big Jim befoozle him, that's all. What's that?
calling card.
What's it say?
An invitation for me to leave town. We don't want lawmen around here.
I'll bet you my bottom dollar that's Big Jim Crail's doing.
Maybe. But you still can't prove it. Just in case you're right, maybe I ought to repay his call. Where am I have to find him?
Well, at his house, more than likely. It's a big place out the North Road on the edge of town.
Thanks, old-timer. I'll take a ride out there.
Well, that ought to show you. We got a real lawman around here now. Who ain't afraid of Crail or anybody else.
Oh, he handled himself good enough so far. But that don't prove there won't be a next time.
If you and the rest of the people in town had stopped paying money to Crail, there wouldn't be any next time. Well, look at you. You're all so broke now, you even got to get mortgage money from the county seat to keep going.
Well, at least we know that money's coming in.
You're a lot of gall-darn fools. That's what you are. Well, you ought to feel mighty happy robbing them people of their money for your insurance. Rocky's gone out to see Crail now, but you just wait and see. He's going to have that fine gentleman behind bars. Then maybe that'll knock some sense into your head.
Do you agree with him?
I don't know, Paul. It's just that I don't trust Mr. Crail. Now that we've got a new marshal, I don't see any reason for him to keep on being the great protector of Bold Bluff.
Oh, I see.
Besides, if he really wanted to help the town, he'd work with the new marshal.
That's right. And Mr. Crail will work with him. You wait and see.
Well, I'll wait, but maybe you'd better go see.
All right. I'll ride out to Crail's right now.
It's the second time you've messed things up. First, you let Lang get away when he's coming in. Then he makes a fool out of you in town.
Well, none of this would have happened if you'd let me take care of that windbag nugget.
I told you before. I don't want to make a hero out of him. I just want to break him. Trouble with you is you're getting a lot quicker with the excuses than you are with the draw. Well, you better change that, Mike. Because I'm not letting any marshal take over around here.
He's outside now.
Put that gun away and get out of here. I want to meet this marshal. Maybe I can sell him some insurance. Howdy, Marshal. Welcome to Bold Bluff. Glad to have a lawman around here at last.
Are you Mr. Crail?
That's right. Big Jim, they call me. Come on in, sit down. Always figured there's no need of standing when you can sit. Pretty nice, huh? How about a drink? Or a cigar?
No, thanks.
I
Never use them.
have them made special for me in St. Louis.
I was going around town meeting some of the folks, and I thought I'd drop in and meet you.
Glad to have you. Anytime.
Nugget Clark was telling me something about your business.
I bet he didn't say anything good. Not old Nugget. Now, sit down. You know, him and me have sort of had a feud on ever since I came here. Friendly feud. Don't mean nothing. Fact is, I like the old boy.
He's kind of bitter about your business.
Just jawing to hear himself talk. He's always got to be arguing about something. I don't pay any attention to it myself.
Do you mind telling me something about this insurance setup of yours?
Well, glad to. You see, Marshal, I like this town and the folks that live here. And I just couldn't stand seeing them get hurt when this trouble began. So I started my insurance company to help the folks. Sort of like being a father to a lot of kids. Oh, it's all perfectly legal and such. I got me a lawyer, and
Yes,
he's been...
I've already met him. Tell me, have you ever had to pay off on any of these policies you've sold?
Not yet, I haven't.
I see. That'd make yours a pretty good business. They tell me you charge kind of high prices for your insurance.
Oh, I have to. I have to hire a lot of boys to protect the property that I insure. That costs money.
Mm-hmm. Then your boys wouldn't be interested in working for the law, would they?
No, I couldn't say. After all, working for the law around here hasn't been exactly healthy. You know, look what happened to our last marshal. It's a wonderful fellow, Sheriff Winters. He and I were such good friends. Well, if there's anything that I can do to help you, just let me know. I'd sort of like to have you take charge of things around here so that I could kind of relax. You know, it's been a big responsibility, and I'd like to turn it over to the law.
I'll do the best I can.
I'm sure you will. Oh, Marshal, how about you taking out one of my insurance policies on yourself?
I wouldn't want to be the first one to make you pay off.
No, I can afford it if you change your mind. Goodbye, Marshal. Drop in again anytime.
I'm liable to do that.
Howdy there, Weston.
Did you see Mr. Crail?
Yeah, I saw him.
Good. I was just going out myself to be sure you came to an agreement.
Crail and I understand each other perfectly.
Afraid I don't follow you, Marshal. Didn't he? Look out!
Yep. Crail and I understand each other perfectly. Thanks for warning me. If you ever consider changing jobs, I could use a good deputy.
I may take you up on that, Marshal. Don't think I'm not grateful, Mr. Crail. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but... well, there's something I want to ask you. Mike Bristol works for you, doesn't he?
That's right.
I just saw him take a shot at the new marshal.
That's so? Well, I'm not surprised.
You mean you don't care?
Mike gets a little out of hand at times, especially when he gets an idea in his head.
That's all I want to know.
Look, Paul, I like you. I want to help you.
I'm not working for you anymore, Mr. Crail.
Now, that's your privilege. But don't you think you better hear my side of it?
I think I know what your side is.
You always want to be sure of yourself before you say things like that.
What do you mean?
Let's go outside. I got something to show you. You never saw this man Lane before, did you?
No.
Nobody in town did either. You know who that is?
No.
Take a look at this.
This is Lane's identification.
That's right. Some of my men found his body by a road about 3 miles outside the town.
But I don't understand.
It's very simple. This man who calls himself Lane waylaid the real marshal and killed him. He took his badge, but I guess he forgot to look for his identification papers.
Are you sure?
Yes. You see, I didn't mention it before, but I used to know Rocky Lane, and that's him, all right.
And this fellow in town must be an imposter. Well, we ought to...
Oh, wait a minute, Paul. You're going to be as bad as Mike. First, I want to find out what his game is. You see, I think he's the man that's been causing all this trouble. He and his men.
Yeah, he could be. What are we going to do?
You're going to go back to town and tell everybody you've quit your job with me. Then stick close to this man who calls himself Lane. See if you can learn anything. If you do, report to me.
All right.
Crail is pretty sure of himself. It's not going to be easy to trip him.
Then you do agree with me? About Crail, I mean.
Yes, I do. I can't bring him to trial just because you don't like him.
Well, I got my instincts when it comes to people like that. And I ain't been wrong yet.
What time is the next stage due in?
Well, there's one scheduled for tomorrow, but I might as well call it off. Besides, I don't want any more of my men getting killed.
Do they always come in the same road?
Well, I've ordered them in every road there is, but it don't seem to help none.
You figured out these different routes ahead of time, eh?
Oh, sure I have. Here, I'll show you. Now, this road here is the one I figured for the stage to come in tomorrow. That's Bull Bluff down there.
Uh-huh. Trouble is, all the relay station men all along the way know about it. Suppose I met that stage tomorrow. Brought it in a different way. Changing my route on my way in. We might be able to get it through.
Yeah. Then we'd be the only ones to know about it.
That's right. Would you write me a letter so the stage driver wouldn't think there was anything unusual going on when I met him?
I'll write it on the machine.
Thanks, Miss Jean.
That contraption. Darn thing ain't good for nothing.
Now, don't say anything to anybody about this, will you? When you finish with the letter, would you bring it over to the sheriff's office, please?
Yes, I will.
Huh. Crail sure don't have much work for you to do.
You won't have any from now on. I just quit my job with him.
Now you're getting some sense in your head.
How about that deputy job, Marshal?
Fine, Paul. I'll take you up on that. Later.
Don't forget that letter, Jean.
I'll have it finished in a few minutes. But not if I keep making mistakes.
You working for the Marshal?
No, this is just something he asked me to type for him. Won't take long.
Oh, go right ahead.
Paul, I'm so glad you decided to leave Crail.
Just so long as you believe what I'm doing is right.
There. And without a mistake. I'll run over to his office and give it to him.
Do you want me to go with you?
Oh, no, thanks. I'll be right back.
That note must mean that Lane, or whoever he is, intends to meet that stage out on the road.
Yes, I'm afraid it's the last Nugget will ever see of his stage. It's a clever scheme, Paul, but I think we can beat him at his own game. And if we do, maybe old Nugget will change his tune about me.
Do you want me to tell Nugget?
No, he might be foolish enough to tip off that phony Marshal. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. We'll protect the old boy in spite of himself. Oh, just let me know if you hear anything else in town.
All right.
See you later.
I guess that explains it.
Yeah. What does it mean, Marshal?
We're going to try something different. Here, you take Blackjack. I'm going to drive the stage in the rest of the way.
That's all right with me. I was leery about this trip anyway.
You'll find Nugget and some of his men down the road, about a mile. They'll tell you what to do.
All right.
What's the trouble?
Can you give me a ride? My horse just gave out on me a few miles back. Stepped in the charcoal.
Where are you heading?
Bull Bluff. Well, I know you've been having a lot of trouble around here, Marshal, but I ain't gonna cause you none. I ain't even armed.
All right, get in.
Thanks. Hey! Better take the road road to the left when you get up to the fork. There's a big tree down across the main road.
Much obliged.
So fast. Slow down.
You don't have anything to worry about. If nothing happens to me.
Slow down or you'll get a bullet in your back. I said slow down!
Something's wrong. He's taking the other road. Come on.
There they come.
Nice work, Nugget.
You all right?
Sure, I'm all right. I got a little souvenir.
Well, I'll be ding-danged. So we finally caught one of them.
As soon as we get to town, I'm going to have a little conversation with him in jail.
I ain't done nothing, I tell you.
You in the habit of taking over stages with a gun?
Like I told you. You was driving that stage like a wild man. I was scared, that's all.
You also told me something about a tree over the road. What happened to that?
I don't know. I ran into a rancher, and that's what he said. I was trying to warn you, that's all.
He's a ding-dang liar.
You can't prove nothing.
Maybe we can. How did you know the stage was coming along that road? That's not the regular route. Who you working for?
Nobody. Came here to get a job.
Ha! You got a job, all right, with Big Jim Crail. But from now on, it's going to be a little bit more confining.
Yeah, let him soak. Let him think it over. If he wants to take the rap for those killers, that's his business. It's your neck unless you decide to talk. Come on.
I don't get it, Mr. Crail. If this marshal's a phony, why did he bring in a prisoner and lock him up?
He's smart, Paul. He's just making a show of doing something. Don't you see? It makes him look good with the folks in town.
I don't know. This fellow in jail could be one of the outlaws.
Sure. Working for the man who calls himself Lane.
What do you mean?
That fellow's story was too smooth for me. The phony marshal could have planted him out of town, then brought him in to make it look like he's doing something.
I still can't figure it. What's he expect to get out of it?
The $50,000 that's waiting at the county seat. He's setting things up for himself, so that he'll be the only one in town they don't suspect. And then they'll let him bring it in.
Doesn't seem possible.
No? I'll lay you odds that the man in jail will be broken out tonight. Lane will see to that.
Well, if that's true, we'd better do something about it.
We're going to.
Yeah, but how?
We're going to keep a close watch on the sheriff's office tonight.
I'll do better than that. I'll be right in the office.
Good. Mike. You heard him, Mike?
Yeah. Think he believed you?
I think so. And tonight we're breaking Broad out of jail before he can shoot off his mouth. And after we do, the folks will run Lane out of town on a rail.
I think he's scared, Rocky, but not enough yet to loosen his tongue.
Well, maybe we won't have to wait on him. Where's Miss Jean?
Oh, in the office catching up on her work. Why?
Because only 3 of us knew about my plan to bring that stage in this morning. You, me, and Miss Jean. Somebody made a mistake along the line.
You don't think that Jean would do a thing like
No,
that?
not intentionally, I don't. But you might have let something slip without knowing it. Now, you stay here. Keep this place locked tight.
Right.
Hello, Nugget.
Oh, it's you, Paul. Got to keep these doors locked. Hey, you can get a sandwich and a cup of coffee on you, have you? I ain't had since noon.
Why don't you go out and get supper, Nugget? I'll stay here while you're gone.
I don't know if Rocky'd like that.
Why not? He said he was going to deputize me.
Yeah, so he did. Well, all right then. But be sure and keep these doors locked tight. And keep your eye on that prisoner in there. We're going to make him talk if we have to drill it out of him.
Don't worry, I'll take care of everything.
Thanks.
Mike. Everything's set. Have the men ready, and I'll give you a signal from the sheriff's office. Now, this ought to draw both Lane and the kid out of town, so don't make any...
Don't worry. I'll take care of them. And this time they won't get away.
Who is it?
It's me, Craig.
Oh, come in, Mr. Crail.
Good evening. You all alone?
I'm relieving Nugget while he gets something to eat.
Oh. I just dropped in to see if everything was okay.
Well, it is so far. I'm going to see that it stays that way. He's not going to...
I thought I heard voices back there.
Well, take a look. Must be your imagination. Prisoner's asleep.
Good. Guess I'm just jumpy tonight. Well, if you need me, I'll be over in my office. Good night.
Night.
Then you're sure you didn't mention this to anyone?
I'm positive, Marshal.
Paul was here when you wrote that letter, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Well, could he have seen it?
I didn't show it to him, if that's what you mean. And he was standing right where you are. Besides, I'm sure Paul wouldn't do anything like that.
I'm sorry, Miss Jean, but it's my job to weigh every angle. I want you to tell me in detail exactly what happened.
Well, I typed the note. Oh, that's right, I made a mistake and I had to do it over again.
On the same piece of paper?
No, I crumpled up the first piece and threw it in the wastebasket. It's right... That's funny. I tossed it right in here.
And you haven't emptied the basket since, huh?
No.
Then what did you do?
I typed the note again and brought it over to you.
Where was Paul?
I don't know. I left him here. But, Marshal, I'm sure Paul wouldn't be involved in any...
What's the trouble, Nugget? I thought I left you...
That's all right, Marshal. Paul came in and relieved me so I could go and get some grub. I ain't ate since noon.
You mean to say you left Paul in charge of the jail?
Sure, he... Well, what's the matter? He won't let anything happen. Get back!
Now, cool off and get back on your horse. You're going to have a lot of questions to answer.
So are you.
Who told you I wasn't a marshal?
I know you're not. He was killed on the way into town. Mr. Crail showed me his body with his identification papers on him.
Oh, Crail did he? All I got to say to you
Hold
is...
it, Nugget. When did all this happen?
Right after you got into town.
Nugget, suppose you tell him about the trouble I had on my way in here.
Sure. Rocky was jumped by a fellow who took his papers. Then some other outlaws rode down on him. He had to kill the fellow to get away without a chance of getting his papers back. I reckon that ought to convince you.
Now, you knew about my plan to bring in that stage this morning, didn't you?
Well,
Didn't you take a piece of paper out of a wastebasket in Nugget's office?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you goddamn fool.
It appears to me Mr. Crail's had you fooled all down the line. How did those men get in here when you relieved Nugget?
I thought you let him in with a key. They just walked in the side door. And I was sure I had both doors locked.
Did anybody else come in before they broke the prisoner out?
Well, Mr. Crail stopped by to see if everything was all right. He told me before he thought you were going to break him out tonight.
That dirty lying buzzard.
But I locked the front door after he went out.
Come here. Look at this. No wonder they could walk right in. Crail stuffed that lock full of paper so it wouldn't catch.
I get it. Now, what do you think of your fine Mr. Crail?
I sure had him wrong. But I was only trying to do what I thought was right.
Yes, I guess you were.
Seems hard to believe. About Crail, I mean. Everything he told me sounded right. But I guess that doesn't excuse me for doing what I did.
Here. You might be needing this.
Thanks, Rocky.
You going to bring Crail in now?
Not yet. We still can't prove that Crail's the boss behind these outlaws. Can you get to the county seat tonight?
You betcha.
Good. Suppose you bring that money back from there tomorrow morning by stage.
Yeah. But what route do you want me to take back?
I'll send somebody out to meet you with instructions. And I'd like to take a look at that map. You'll give me the key to your office.
Well, sure.
You better get started.
You can use my horse. He's right outside.
Thanks, Paul. I'm off.
Crail.
Well?
We got Brod out all right.
I know that. How about Paul and Lane?
Well, we were all set and waiting for them, but they never showed up. I did hear some shooting, though. For all I know, maybe they killed each other.
Yeah, I don't like that maybe. It's a... Wait a minute. So Lane and the kid killed each other, did they? That's the kid's horse Nugget's riding.
But he must be back in town.
Yeah, he is back. Get Broad.
What do you want me to do?
Over here, I'll show you. We're going to have the morning stage meet Nugget. Right here will be a good spot. You send Crail and his men over here.
I get it. I'll make Crail think I'm working for him again.
That's right. We'll have the driver tell Nugget to take the south road. You tell Crail you found out Nugget was coming in the east road. Then we'll be ready for him. You got that straight?
I'll tell him. I'm going to have some other things to say to him, too, afterwards.
Both of us are. You better get started.
Good evening, Marshal. I heard what happened. I mean about the prisoner.
Oh, hello, Paul.
Hello, Mr. Crail.
Yes, it's too bad. Anything I can do to help?
No, I don't think so. If there is, I'll let you know.
Oh, I was just coming out to see you, Mr. Crail.
Oh, that's so?
I wanted to tell you something.
Oh? You mean about Nugget bringing the money in?
Get your hands away from your guns.
You see, I never leave anything to chance. Too bad you're not still working for me, Paul. All right, boys, take him over there and tie him up. That was a smart idea of yours, Marshal. Send the morning stage out with instructions for Nugget. Wasn't that smart, Mike?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it'll work out just fine for me.
I don't see why we can't take these two outside of town and finish them off.
Somebody might see you take them out. Besides, there's somebody else we mustn't forget about. That girl of yours, Paul. I think she knows too much for her own good. So we'll have to do something about her. Yes, indeed. She's going to be in for quite a surprise when she opens this office tomorrow morning. And you'll be here to see it. Now, I like to work things out in detail. You know what I mean, Marshal? Well, you'll find out tomorrow morning. Good night, gentlemen. Everything all right?
Everything's fine.
Good. Mike, you come with me. You're driving the stage out to meet Nugget and tell him where we want him to go. See, I've got a little business out in the road with a couple of my boys. We figured on giving Nugget a little reception. So if you'll excuse me, no eye slip-ups, Brod. As soon as the girl gets here, take care of all of them.
Untie my hands, quick. Stay where you are. Paul, tie him up. Try to round up a posse. I'm riding out to find Nugget.
Whoa. Who are you? How come you're driving my stage?
Well, your driver took sick, so the marshal sent me out. He said to tell you to bring the money in by the east cutoff.
Huh? Well, all right. I reckon the marshal knows what he's doing. But I'm going in fast.
What road did you tell Nugget to take?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, what road?
The east cutoff.
That looks like Lane.
Give me those reins.
Marshal.
Well, what's going on?
Well, we just want to say we're grateful to you for all you've done for us, Rocky.
That's right. But God dang it, Rocky, I don't see why they have to order you back so soon.
Well, thanks, Nugget, old-timer. Paul here can take care of things now that he's sheriff.
Thanks, Rocky. With Crail and his gang in jail, there's not going to be much to take care of.
Well, then you can see Miss Jean keeps out of trouble.
I'll make sure he does that, Rocky.
Well, I better get started, so long. Good luck to you.
So long.
Same to you, Rocky. The best to you, Rocky.